welcome to Whitstable. We're here today for the Whitstable Museum. Well, here I am in Whitstable and I'm making my way to the museum here to see a very special steam engine. Well, welcome to Whitstable, and in here is the Perter Cushing exhibition. And yeah, I knew Perter Cushing as the general from Star Wars, but obviously a huge acting career, and they've got all kinds of memorabilia in here. Slippers worn by Perter Cushing on the set of Star Wars, and Perter Cushing, Oliver Reed and Barbara Windsor on the 24th of February 1992 placed their hands in plaster. And a couple of other bits here, the Star Wars books, and several life cast Perter Cushing's face were made for the prosthetic special effects for his part in Top Secret. So not a Star Wars bit there, but and there's investiture for the OBE. It wouldn't be a Perter Cushing exhibition without mentioning Doctor Who. And there's the Dalek. And I won't film too much of the pictures because they might be under copyright. But there's this lovely exhibition here. The makeup box on the floor there. There's one of his paintings on the wall. I didn't realise he was an artist. Low Tide of the Estuary at Whitstable, circa 1957, by Perter Cushing. You can see his writing table here. Now, I have come to this museum for a very specific reason. I'm going to save that till a little bit later. You've probably already seen it in the thumbnail. There's some fascinating bits and pieces. These models of ships. The Kathleen of Rochester, Thames sailing barge. See a lot of these in my neck of the woods. They're just off Malden. Model of one of the forts here. It's one of these that has turned into the Principality of Sealand. Yeah, I nearly went there this week. The Waverley, the paddle steamer, was sailing out from Clacton Pier out around the fort, and I nearly went, but something else cropped up and I couldn't make it. Let me come back round this side. Look at this hand cart here, 2-leaf hand cart, used for transporting crates of ale and stout. It says they're Kent's best ales and stout. Number 5 High Street. So Whitstable is also synonymous with diving, and it just says here the diving helmet was invented around 1826 by Charles and John Dean, who had been apprenticed as sailors with Whitstable and Herne Bay men. Charles Dean had first patented a smoke helmet in 1824, which he could not sell. However, the brothers cleverly converted it for diving and underwater salvage. And there's one of the old air pipes on the floor there, and yeah, one of the original helmets here. And it said that they were the first to dive on the Mary Rose, so I was told as I came in. You can see here the diver's pump, the hand pump for pumping the air down, and a slightly 12-bolt diving helmet. So this one over here was the 8-bolt, or 3-bolt diving helmet. So you can see around the collar the 3 bolts on the chap there. Look at the old mangle here. crazy to think this was about 1850 and they were only replaced in 1960 by the spin dryer, and now museum pieces. Makes you wonder, you know, with this spin dryer that we have now in the kitchens, you know, whether they will ever be in a museum. You think these were just commonplace in every house. So yeah, air raid warden helmet at the top there. Some interesting artefacts there from the war. Oh, I love the embossing machine here. Just put your piece of paper under the front there, pull the handle down and emboss an image onto the paper. Well, this is what I really came here for. Invicta, 80% original. Was the loco built after rocket by the Stephensons, and yeah, 200th anniversary celebrations. You can see it here. The Canterbury and Whitstable Railway. The railway company was formed by creating an Act of Parliament in 10th of June 1825. And this is the actual Invicta. And yeah, to find it in the museum here, it's absolutely wonderful. Now, reading before I came here, as I say, I believe this was the loco that was built after rocket by the Stephensons, built up in Manchester, shipped here in bits and put together locally, or assembled locally. And yeah, as I say, ran along from here all the way along to Canterbury, and has the accolade of becoming the very first locomotive that went into preservation, being put into storage as it was retired and then gifted to Canterbury, where it was displayed for many, many years. It is fabulous, isn't it? You see the very rocket-esque, if that's such a word, pistons. Much longer firebox. Mind you, the firebox and boiler, you can't really distinguish between the two, but we've got the firebox at the back here, and you see a long boiler and firebox all the way to the front of the loco. Two wheels the same size, unlike rocket with its trailing wheels, and a smoke box on the front here, which yeah, certainly doesn't look original, does it? So there's actually a diagram here of the topography in between Whitstable and Canterbury, and Stephenson initially envisaged stationary engines to pull the trains along, but then decided on a portable engine, hence Invicta, to do majority of the journey and save the cost of building a stationary engine every few miles. Stationary engines were about £1,500, whereas Invicta costs £600. And one of the beam stationary engines, I believe, is out in the yard. We're going to have a look in a minute. So weighing in at 7 tonnes and a grand total of 12 horsepower, it will pull up to 10 wagons, each with 10 people. And down here's a picture of the cauldron wagon, and I was corrected that it is chaldron, and then somebody else corrected me and said it was cauldron, so I'm going to cover myself and say both, because it does seem to be that depending on where you're from, there is a slight difference in the dialect. But look at the reflection there in the glass underneath the loco. So Invicta itself never completed the full distance, obviously, because of the beam engine. So Invicta would do the first couple of miles, and then you'd transverse into another carriage to be taken over the Clowes Wood and Tyler Hill halt using the beam engine. I'll take you outside and show you that in a moment. But there's a picture here. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to show this. I'll be very quick. Of it taking part in one of the cavalcades celebrating the railway. There's a picture of it there crossing the bridge, and it arriving in Canterbury under preservation. And there it is out in the open, painted red, and then being winched into the museum here in Whitstable. Little book there, 150th anniversary of the opening of the Canterbury and Whitstable Railway. I do love the penny farthing here. And yeah, just down the bottom there, a penny and a farthing. The pedals on this. The lady was just telling me if you look at the wheels on this, it's actually fitted with tyres, unlike Rocket. So you've got cast and wrought iron here. Originally fitted with wooden tyres on here, and those were replaced very soon to try and give the weight, to give the loco more weight, so that it would stop slipping on the track. And just down the courtyard here is the beam engine that's currently under restoration. There's see a picture of the beam engine on the wall there, and the actual artefact here. There's the beam sitting at the back there. The lady was just telling me they've actually got the funding now to do some restoration with it. Now, let me just have a look behind the tarpaulin here. You can see the piston just there, with obviously with work ongoing. The piston with the top off of it. And yeah, plan is to get this restored. I don't think it's intended to run. I think it's just cosmetically to be restored. But yeah, fantastic thing to have with Invicta. Welk Trappers of Sheringham. Boat in the yard here. There's a poster here that says, look, Whitstable welcomes Invicta, 1929, built by Robert Stephenson, to more advanced design than the Rocket, 12 horsepower, so slightly more powerful than a Rocket. This was number 7, I believe, in with Rocket being loco number 6, and there the stationary engine, 1829, also Stephenson designed for both Clowes Wood and Tyler Hill locations at 25 horsepower. And just to wrap up my visit here, this vintage fire engine. Look at the fire helmet. That is wonderful. You can see here a fire brigade in December 1929 and the Norwich Union badge there. Displayed on the wall outside premises insured with Norwich Union Company. Just goes on to tell a little bit about the destructive fires of, well, this one here, 1869. 2 hours, 5 engines were attending, but due to the tide being out, much of the sea being the only source of water, it was some time before they were much use. The fire started in the property of Charles Holt, in a large wooden building used for mast and block making, and soon spread to other buildings nearby, consuming at least 71 buildings. 25 were domestic dwellings. The little dioramas just down here. They're very, very good. I'm fascinated by underneath the shot underneath there, the reflection. Fascinated by that. One other thing I didn't mention, a little wooden model here, a rocket, obviously with the pistons pointing forward, whereas Invicta pointing rearward. Well, a couple more shots before I make my way out. What a fabulous little museum. Yeah, well worth a visit in Whitstable. And I'm just going to have one more shot just on the side here. Look at the rear wheels differing to the front wheels. I wonder if that's got a similar story to locomotion number 1. Yeah, don't know. But yeah, fantastic to see Invicta finally after all these years. Look at the tool chest here. You can see all the tools in the bottom here, dating from the 1800s. And you can see at the top here, the pictures engraved in the roof, in the lid. There's the glass here from Whitstable Lighthouse. A couple of other warning lights down there. Well, what a fantastic museum. Quite small, but some really interesting artefacts in there. And of course the star was Invicta, loco that I hadn't seen before, so really, really pleased to get to see that. And you know, as an added bonus as well, the beam engine that's under restoration. So yeah, if you're in the area, do come and check out the museum. Lots in there and lots to see. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up, and why not check out the channel, lots on there. And if you can subscribe, I'll be very grateful. With that, I'll leave it there. Just say thanks ever so much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.